Welcome to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. If you are trying to evaluate whether real estate is the right career for you, wondering whether you are doing the right things to launch into quick success, or looking for tips and tools you can use today to become a more productive agent, this is your podcast. Welcome to So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. This is season 4, Learning from Legends. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Meredith Fogel. And today we have a young legend joining us. Sometimes the legends who have joined us have been in the business for decades. But Arya Rabinovitz, who is a top producing agent in Westchester County, New York, has had a precipitous rise to success. And I invited Arya here to share his story. Arya joined a mastermind call that we had a few weeks ago, and I just thought you were so inspiring, Arya, in what you shared in the call. You were very generous in what you shared, and I thought you were a great role model that our audience would really enjoy hearing from. So thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. If I can help any agent grow, I'll be happy to do that.
Love that attitude. Fantastic. So I want to start with your background. So give our audience a little synopsis of what brought you into real estate, what you were doing before you got into real estate.
So the reason that really got me into it was that I flipped a couple of homes, more than a couple, did new construction projects, and one project after another, I realized that there was like a common problem at a lot of the sales me and my partner did, that the real estate agents involved weren't really guiding us in the right way. Like, we only found out certain things. We should have done it exactly the opposite way after the buyers came through the door. And a lot of these kind of things that we didn't get top-notch service sort of like kicked into me. I'm like, oh, there is room in this industry to make a change. This is really what got me sort of like, you know what, I'm going to go get my license and see if I can do something different.
So these were listing agents that you felt didn't guide you properly as the seller. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Interesting. You know, what's really funny is I just had an agent local to me join our team who got into the industry the exact same way through flipping houses and said almost the exact same thing. And she said, you know, I just thought this could be done a lot better. And why am I not just doing this myself? So can you give us a couple of examples or an example of something that a particular area that you identified as, this seems like there's room for growth here, and I think I could give better service in this particular area?
I think the number one priority for anybody who is in any business is communication. Where I personally believe a lot of people in our industry are not good because nobody is being told or taught about that, hey, you got to be a very good communicator, right? Because the job is officially you have to sell a home.
Yeah.
People don't realize that before you sell a home, you have to be a super, super good communicator. And like, you could just ask someone something. I mean, we all know, like, a lot of agents, they'll never get back to you, right? So when you build a home or you flip a home for that matter, and you don't have someone really communicating with you in a timely fashion or in a clear way, like say what you mean what you say, that really can hurt sellers.
Very true. Yeah, that's a great observation. And that is definitely an area that I think many agents miss the mark. Communication is huge. So when you got your license and you said to yourself, okay, I know I can do that piece of it and probably other pieces better as well, did you set a goal for yourself to become a dominant agent, or what did that look like? Or were you just like, no, I know I can do this part better?
So nope, the next flip me and my partner did, I just decided to list it myself. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to use my license to just do it for us. Like, I'm not interested in working with the whole public. And we put on the home for sale, and within 2 weeks it was sold, was in contract. And that buyer was like, Arya, you know, I've been looking on my own for the last couple months. I didn't want to work with anybody, but until I came to your open house, and I'm like, you know what? That's the guy I want to work with. I just thought he's just trying to compliment me or whatever. So I just let it fly. But then after I did that sale, another friend of mine realized, oh, I just realized you sold a home. Do you want to help me buy an investment property? So I wasn't planning at all to do a lot of sales to begin with. It just happened. It was just God's plan, sort of, to say.
Amazing. That's and spoken like a true entrepreneur, a successful person. That is, giving gratitude for the success you've had is such a hallmark of, I think, someone who is truly meant to succeed. So that's beautiful to hear that. And
I didn't join an office or any of these kind of things. No mentor, nothing. I just started doing it. I figured everything out on my own.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Like nothing.
So no books that you were reading, no podcasts you were listening to. It was just sort of trial and error. Amazing.
Zero. I just know I have to do it.
Wow. Did you have a background in sales and business, anything that shored up this quick path to success that you started to take?
I don't think it's quick. I think it's a lot of days and nights of work.
Right. From my perspective, it looks really quick, but yeah.
I mean, I had an Amazon, eBay business online. Obviously, it's all sales.
Yeah.
But not really in like retail sales with people. I was in communication industry before, so I always knew communication is key.
Yeah.
Like how to respond, what to respond, how to really listen to the question. Mm-hmm. That's something I've known for years because I have been in the communication industry.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that explains a lot about your kind of natural affinity, I think, for having people want to work with you. And you told a story when you were on the mastermind call you said something like 2 years ago, I couldn't get people to even talk to me in this area. And now you're one of the dominant agents in your area, which is pretty impressive for someone who came in without a blueprint or without a plan to really like take over market share. It almost sounds spontaneous the way that you're describing it. But I'm thinking there must have been a point, or was there, that you said, I might have something here. Maybe I should get a little strategic about this.
Yeah, I would say it was after selling in the first year, I did about 20 deals. And I was like, I guess I'm doing something right. Because a lot of other people in the industry were telling me that most agents the first year barely do 8, 10 deals, 12 is a lot.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, look, if it works for me, then I might as well just go deeper and start diving into it. And this is where I started thinking more like, okay, what do I want to do? Which area specifically do you want to target? And I went on from there.
Phenomenal. And what did you do to get the word out that you were wanting to engage new people in business? Was there marketing that was around that? Were you doing more personal interaction with people?
Just like I got so I started out with working with a lot of buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 1 year, a couple of years ago, I think, that I did over, I don't remember the exact number, 25 to 30 represented buyers on their sale of their home. And I think that's really when people start realizing, oh, this guy is really out here working.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
this is when
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
After that, I was like really starting to think and be very focused, like, what do I want to do next?
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that I'm going to start working with sellers. And I believe I can really help sellers sell their home in an easier way, less stress. And this is when I started focusing on that.
Mm-hmm. So that was going to be my question, is how did you pivot toward the listing business? And that's a jump that I think a lot of agents who are mostly buyer centric have a really hard time making. So doing it in a thoughtful, strategic way, I think sometimes agents feel like they're kind of like stuck with buyers, or that's kind of all that they can do, or they just don't understand what it takes to get in front of sellers. What got you in front of more sellers?
So I agree with that 100%. That is very, very hard. Probably the toughest change for anybody in the industry to really make.
Yeah.
For me, it was more the mindset that, look, I don't care. For the next 12 months, I'm not pursuing a single buyer. If they want to pursue me, that's one thing. Like if they are ready to sign an exclusive that they work with me, then I'm willing to give them my time. Other than that, I can't spend much time with them right now. And I'm just going to try to get one listing and another listing, just work one by one.
Smart. And what was the message that you were putting out there? Well, let me ask you this actually first. You said that you wanted to show sellers that there was an easier, less hassle involved way to do this. Was there a marketing piece that you put out? Were you just like talking to people? How did you get that message in front of people? Just
talking to people.
Okay.
I mean, I like connecting with people, and I pretty much know after talking with someone, wherever I meet them, however I meet them, if they're having one conversation, if I'm going to connect with them again or not.
Mm-hmm.
So if I connect with them, then it will lead to another conversation. If not, most likely I won't. It's either you hit it off or you don't.
Mm-hmm. True. And is that conversation in any way strategic for you? If you have you get kind of that like sense that this could be somebody who might want to sell a house eventually. What kind of an agent are you? Are you going in and you're trying to close then, or you're creating an opportunity for future conversations that might lead to a close, or does it depend on the situation?
It really depends how I got to meet them. And I don't have one way, like I believe we spoke about that, right? But I don't have a specific way, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do that now. You really have to feel the temperature at the moment.
Yeah.
But obviously the goal is always to have with them another conversation.
Yeah. And I think you said something really important when you said that, two things. One, talking with people. I think that's one piece that agents miss just as a normal piece of doing business. You have to be out talking to people. It isn't about being in back of a screen all the time. The more you're in back of a screen, the less business you're probably doing. You got to be out and about communicating with other human beings in order to put yourself in the place of opportunity. And the other thing is that you made an intentional decision to no longer pursue buyers. That kind of intentional decision often does not happen for realtors until they are like decades into their career. And that I think it's kind of a game changer when you do it. It's probably scary, but look at your career.
It's something, forget about the mindset. You have to financially be able to do that.
That's true too.
But I looked at it and I was like, okay, either I'm going to pursue another 12 months now buyers. Yeah, maybe I'll even close out 40, 45 transactions with them. Mm-hmm. But then what happens next year? I have to work all day long, all night. Since I made that switch, I mean, there are a lot of days that I'm literally walking out of the office 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
That's me. Forget about at night. Never. There's no such a thing. I mean, when you work with buyers, I believe every buyer's agent will tell you, it's like the boundaries are so different.
Mm-hmm.
That I knew it's worth the struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can manage many more listings at any given time than you can
100%
buyers. Yeah. So do you think that, or do you have a strategy for, from a listing, leveraging that listing into future listing business?
Look, every listing, you're pretty much showcasing yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So without you knowing, other sellers, other homeowners in the area are looking, what is this person doing?
Yeah.
You just gotta do the best job you can, because that's when you really showcase to the neighborhood, because that's the product they're looking at, right? We as agents, we intend to look at, the home is the product. I think it works the other way around. The homeowners look at agents like that's the product. Yes. How does that product operate?
Yeah, completely agree with you. A couple of things that you mentioned to me also are open houses, that's been a key to your success because you're getting to meet people at the open houses. Do you have any tips for the audience in engaging with the person who comes into the open house in a way that feels like it's interactive, but not like threatening to people. Because, I just had a mastermind with people who couldn't get sellers or neighbors to sign into open houses. And they were like, well, I just gave up on asking them to sign in. So talk to me about what's your strategy around getting people to sign in and engaging with people in a way that invites a future conversation.
So I never ask direct questions to someone like, where do you live? Or what's your name? I just introduce myself and I say, nice to meet you guys, or whoever they are. If they come in with, a lot of the times, a lot of families do come in with young kids. You just got to be comfortable with them, right? And a lot of the families who come in with kids, they are under stress. They think, I don't know what the agent's going to say. Maybe the homeowner is not okay with that. You got to show them you're okay with them and make them feel welcome, because the seller does want everybody to come into the home, right? As many people as possible. When they see you make them feel comfortable, they'll ease up. For signing in, you just keep it very polite. Like, whenever you're going to try to tell someone, oh, you have to do that, there is the natural resistance. Like fence. Yeah, the resistance that will come up and they will just pull back, say, oh, no. But if you just have them nicely, look, the seller likes to keep track on everybody who comes in and comes out, walks out, then people, I barely have somebody telling me I don't want to sign in. I think it's really the attitude that you are there at the open house, the way you greet them and treat them, right?
Well said. Yeah, absolutely. And then what are you doing to follow up? Are you calling people right after the open house, or again, is it situation dependent?
So it really depends. It really depends what they're telling me at the open house. Like with most people, I will have, I believe, pretty good conversations. If they are just first-time home buyers and they can describe to me exactly what they're looking for, it's either me or my assistant will schedule with them a phone call to follow up and to see if we can help them with that. If it's somebody who tells me they need to sell, they're thinking of selling, they're dreaming of selling, I will absolutely do everything I can to find out more about their home and set another conversation with them.
Perfect. And the other thing that you shared with me is that you think one of your keys to your success is consistency, which I completely agree. That is like probably the major key to most business people's success. What would you say you're most consistent about? Or is it everything in your life?
I mean, some people tell me I'm too robotic already. This is how consistent I am. But you are right. I mean, consistency is a success in everything. I mean, in any industry, we're going to look around. We do research. It's consistency that keeps outbeating and overcoming everybody else. There is just no other way around it. Because the way I see it is, right, there is one day an agent wants to do that. Another day they want to do that. Another day they're in the mood of doing that. There's so many distractions and shiny objects out there. Nobody wants to do the boring thing of every day again and again and again. So just staying super consistent, I think is I would say the number one key thing.
And are you time blocking for certain activities that you're doing like consistently from day to day?
Pretty much everything is scheduled. I can pretty much tell you on Sunday what my week looks like. And there is no way something else comes into the picture unless it's a listing appointment. And then there is open time in the afternoon. If they want it 9 o'clock in the morning, that's not going to happen either.
Right.
Because it's a 50-50 if you're going to get that or not.
True.
It's never guaranteed they're going to work with you, right? Unless it's a situation where somebody's telling me, I don't care what, just bring me the paper. Where do I sign? Right? These people will wait till later in the afternoon anyway. So I can't remember when I last had somebody literally interrupting my schedule. Wow.
So you've really been able to craft your schedule very intentionally because of how you run your business. Smart.
Yeah, I'm a very scheduled person, especially for the first few hours in the day. In the afternoons, it could go one way or another. Like, it really depends what's on my schedule, what's the day like. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days a week, you can't touch it.
That's beautiful. And that gives you freedom for the rest of your life, which is what is the most amazing thing about
Friday, I don't have that. Saturday, I'm completely off, right? I'm obviously observing Shabbat. And people know, they call me and I'll return their call Sunday. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday is pretty much the 2-3 hours of work you do at the open houses. So it's like 4 days a week.
Right. Yeah. And what's striking about it is, again, like you've learned this in a relatively short period of time. This is usually the person who is like way ahead in their career, looking back and going, I finally figured out how to do this. You've come out of the hustler phase to the real entrepreneurial phase pretty quickly.
I'm naturally consistent. I mean, I show up every morning. I meet up with my friend every morning the same time. 5:30, we meet up, no matter what. Like, so my day just works. I've always been a very consistent guy. So that's not really a struggle for me, not to brag about it. I know consistency, a lot of people struggle with it.
Yeah.
And I understand why they struggle with it. It's way better to be sleeping. But for me, that's something that's very easy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say to an agent who does know that they struggle with it? Do you think it's a skill that can be learned if you're not naturally a consistent person?
100%. Everything can be changed. No doubt about it. There's a lot of other things. We all change, right?
Yeah.
As life goes on. It's just a matter of how much do you want to change it?
Oh, that's good. You're exactly right. How much do you want it? Yeah. And I think one of the things that maybe the audience listening to you might not know is that you also are a father of small children. How many kids do you have?
4.
You have 4 kids. Okay. And they're under the age of
10.
Yeah. Okay. So 4 young children. So I could see perhaps a listener listening to you and going, oh, you're making excuses. Well, but he is, a single guy, or he's a young guy, or but you have a full house of children, lots of activity going on, I know, and it's going to continue to pile on as these kids get older. How would you say that clearly the consistency and the time blocking helps, but how do you juggle or manage the duties that come with being a dad of 4 young kids with this incredible business that you're building?
So it really boils down to they really need to understand what you are doing, and they all have to be on board with you. Right? So I don't see it as a juggle or a struggle. There's plenty of, when you do this job so consistency, there's so much time to spend with them without distractions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. So they understand what you're doing. They understand why you're doing it. And they're kind of bought into what you're doing. And it sounds like you're able to carve out enough time to be really present with them and for them, that it feels probably better for them than it would if you were pulling in other directions all the time.
A lot of the agents and clients who work with me for a long time, they all know that Friday afternoon, you pretty much can't really talk to me. Forget about going on appointments, no matter what, listings or a buyer. They all know it's my kids' times. They know, you with your kids already? I'm like, yes. Like, it's Friday afternoon. Like, there's no matter what, I'm with them. Right. So they know that there are certain times that I block out for them. And it's like, everybody has a job where they're not going to be home all day long with their kids. I think they actually have an easier time. They know when I'm home with them, I'm with them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fabulous. That's really admirable. Let me ask you this. Is there a strategy that you have learned that was not natural to you, because you come into this business with a lot of the natural proclivities for success, but is there anything you've learned that wasn't natural that you had to kind of up your game in to scale the way that you have?
I think video, that's pushing the comfort zone for me. I never was someone who is like, oh, I'm going on video, but I realized it works actually in a very funny way. So when I'm trying to reach someone and you can't get through to them, whatever, they don't have their number saved, or we live in a world where people don't like to pick up their phones. What I started doing was like taking a selfie video and send it to them through a text, like a regular text. Everybody opens that up. Try that out. Send a selfie video to someone you want to talk to, and they'll respond. If they want to, if it's something they know you, they just don't recognize the number, they'll call you back immediately. Oh, I'm sorry. They'll apologize. So this is when I realized video really works. It's not just talk. So I actually started doing video this year. And it gets people to recognize you, obviously. I mean, everybody who's been doing a little bit of video knows that it gets people to recognize you, gets people to engage with you. And that's something that I completely pushed out of my comfort zone this year.
Good for you. And that is something that people continue to resist, but you've seen that it does work. And I also noticed you've got some pretty cool YouTube content that you've created as well. Is that an offshoot of you learning that video was effective for just getting people to call you back?
I'm not sure which video you referencing.
If I Google you on YouTube, you actually come up a few times you've got a pretty good YouTube presence.
So I believe you're referencing to some couples, my clients, sellers that have sold their homes.
Yeah.
They actually went on YouTube to
that was them? Oh my gosh. I thought that was something you created.
It's a mix.
Okay.
But if you're referencing something creative, then I believe you're referencing. I have a lot of sellers who went last year, 2 years ago, and hopefully we'll have some this year. They go on YouTube. They, instead of just writing a review, they just put out a video describing the experience they had while working with me for the sale of their home. And I think that's better than 100 reviews.
Heck yes. And the fact that, so they did that without you, I thought you were going to say, well, this is a new campaign that I came up with that I thought would be effective. We're getting in front of more sellers. So this was like an organic thing that happened that obviously is.
So I'm doing both. Doing both. There are some videos that I put out. Yes, that's a new thing I started this year. But then I have sellers making videos. I don't tell them, hey, you have to do that, right?
Right.
Usually when you have a really good experience with a seller, you help them sell their home and they really feel appreciative. They really want to do for you something. This is not just about getting paid and walking away from a closing table with a check. I really don't see it this way. If you really help them, you got them to the other side of the bridge at ease, like you promised, and everything was like expected, they will be thankful to you forever.
Yeah.
And I sometimes have sellers asking me, Arya, what can I do to show you that I appreciate it? There was over a year ago that I told you know what? Maybe if a seller really wants, make a video how your experience was.
So smart. So you just said, if you feel like it, record a video telling me what it was like working with me. And that would be amazing. And then people just did it.
People doing it. I mean, whoever I asked, sure, no problem.
So good. Such a great strategy. So what is next for your business? Do you have a goal for kind of, doubling what you're doing or 10xing what you're doing, or what does it look like for you?
I don't know if doubling is something that you could really do this year, considering the inventory is so tight.
Yeah.
Hopefully I will overjump the numbers from last year. Pretty much on track for that. So hopefully, God's willing, everything will work out. Maybe in 18 months when inventory opens up and all the work you put in now, it will just fire up. We'll see.
Yeah. And I think you're exactly right. That is for the audience listening. What you're doing right now is what's going to show up when the inventory starts to loosen up. So don't think that you're wasting time or spinning your wheels, putting your head down and just grinding right now. This is the time to do it.
100%. I don't think there is this market or that market. I think it's all the time. You just have to keep doing what you're doing. I got Monday afternoon, after we spoke Monday in the morning, Monday afternoon after 3:00, I got 3 emails from people. One I've spoken to a year ago. He's like, Arya, please call me at your convenience. I'm ready to sell my home. And there was another person that somebody referred me to 6 months ago, like in December. And I've never spoken to him. He never picked up the phone, but I had his email and his number, and I have been emailing him since. And he called me. He emailed me 3:23 Monday in the afternoon. He's like, Arya, can you please call me? I'm ready to sell my home. At 5:00, I was by his house. So it's just, you have to keep doing it. I don't think it has anything to do with the seller's market, buyer's market. I think this is all nonsense. and just people looking for what to talk and for excuses. You just have to do what you do. Figure out what you want to do and just do it, and don't stop for anything.
Love it. Love it. Perfect advice. Perfect advice. Anything else that you would like to share? We're already at time. I can't believe it always goes so quickly, but anything else that you think would be useful for our audience to learn from you?
There's nothing specific to learn from me. I'm not some sort of genius. You just have to be focused and keep doing it, no matter in what mood you wake up. I don't know how to say it clearer than that.
Yeah.
When the time clocks, you got to clock along.
Great advice. Great advice. I know you say you're not some sort of genius, but to our audience who is listening and looking at your story, this is like a genius way that you have risen to success, and beautiful that you've been willing to share. So we thank you so much for that. And if people want to find you, said just do a Google search, and I guarantee I've done it on Arya. He comes up, so you can kind of check out what he's doing. And you're always open to talking with people, especially who want to sell in your area. I know that. So, feel free to
absolutely.
Reach out to Arya. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been wonderful.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. I want to thank our podcast sponsors as well, the Rosec team with Embrace Mortgage, Paul Harsani with First National Bank, the E team with Mortgage on a Mission, Village Settlements, and Peak Settlements. Please also connect with us on social media. Feel free to reach out to ask a question. I know Arya would be happy to answer if you have questions for him as well. And please leave us a review or rating on the platform on which you are listening. We're so grateful to everyone who has left us a review or reaches out to us. We love hearing from you. Thank you again, Arya. Thank you to all of you for listening. This has been So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. We'll see you next time. We are so grateful you joined us today. If you've benefited from the advice we share on the show, we hope you'll tune in to our next episode. Interested in learning more about my personal mentoring programs, our Career Kickstart course, or to pick up a copy of my book, Farming for Real Estate Agents, your step-by-step guide for becoming the go-to agent in your local market? Visit www.meredithfogel.com and click the Resources tab. If you are curious about becoming part of the List Realty family of agents, go to the www.thelistrealty.com website and click Careers from the About Us page, or find me at the Meredith Fogel team on social media. Thank you for listening. This has been So You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent. We'll see you next time.